Hi, today we're going to be looking at this video for reading day 3 in our Wonders Unit 1 Week 3 textbook. And we're going to be reading our long story from our literature anthology, which is called Gary the Dreamer. If you have this book at home, you can follow along. If you do not have it, you can follow along on the screen during the video. We're also going to be talking about sequencing. So sequencing is the order that things happen in. The sequence is the order. So we're going to be doing a graphic organizer about sequencing, and we can work on it during the story, or you can fill it in after. But if you're going to fill it in after, I suggest that you get a whiteboard or a piece of paper and be ready to take some notes so you can fill it in later. So if you need to go and get those, you can pause this video and then go and get those and get started. All right, let me present my screen to you. Not that one. Okay, let's try again. Okay, this is what I wanted to share with you. Okay, so today's presentation, we'll go ahead and launch that. All right, so here's our graphic organizer. You can see that it has 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes, and we are going to list our events in the order in which they occur. And I'm going to help you with this while we are reading the story. So either have this out or be ready to take some notes. All right. Okay, we are now ready to read our story, so please follow along one way or another, and let's get started.
Genre: narrative nonfiction.
Okay, so genre, narrative nonfiction. So in narrative, we're telling a story, and in nonfiction, that means that this really did happen. So this is a true story about a real person.
Essential question: how do people from different cultures contribute to a community? Read about the poet and author Gary Soto. Find out about Gary's culture and his community.
All right, so this week's essential question was, how do people from different cultures contribute to a community? So we're going to continue reading about people from different cultures and how they contribute to their communities. And this is a real person who grew up to be an author and poet. You can see over here that he is the author of Gary the Dreamer, and it is a story about himself. So let's see how it goes.
Gary the Dreamer by Gary Soto. Illustrated by Elizabeth Gomez. I was born in April, a month when it rains and rains. Maybe this is why when I was 3 years old, I liked to open my mouth and taste rain. Also, April is when flowers bloom. Bees arrive out of nowhere. I lived in a small white house. My dog's name was Blackie. My cat's name was Boots. I had a canary just bigger than a big person's thumb. But my bird flew away when the little door of its cage was left open. So sorry, little canary, but I think it was me who left it open.
Oh no. Okay, next page.
I remember my high chair. I remember watching my parents and older brother at the dinner table. When I got a little bigger, I got to sit with them. Most mornings I ate oatmeal sprinkled with brown sugar. The sugar was like rocket energy. I blasted out of the house ready to play. I played tag with the neighbor kids. I played hide and seek. I played catch with oranges. In our backyard we had an orange tree. We also had plum, lemon, and apple trees. Lucky me. Anytime I was hungry for a snack, I just went outside and picked a fruit.
Very nice. Do any of you have fruit trees in your yard? I don't, but I would like to plant some. Next
I
page.
didn't have many toys. My army men were pinto beans and pebbles. I played with them in the dirt. I got dirty from playing hard. It seemed like a giant pepper shaker had sprinkled me with dust. My favorite fruit was watermelon. After I ate a slice of watermelon, I ended up with seeds in my mouth. These seeds were my ammo to spit at my older brother. He would spit some back at me. It was sort of like a fun war. The seeds flew all over the place.
Have you ever done that with watermelon seeds? Nowadays, a lot of people buy seedless watermelons, so we don't always get a chance to do fun things with the seeds.
In kindergarten, I learned my colors. I learned to tie my shoes and to be nice. I liked to sing, too. My brother said he could hear me from the next classroom. I made my first friend, Daryl. I made another friend, Jose. At recess, we went on the slide. It was like a big shiny spoon and slippery. Then we went on the swings. It was scary but fun going high and jumping out. Then we went on the monkey bars. If I fell, I never got hurt. In first grade, I practiced writing the alphabet. The letters were big and blocky. I wrote my name, Gary. Some days my nice teacher would have to tell me, Gary, sit still. I wiggled a lot in my chair. I dreamed a lot. I was busy looking at the floor or my hands or out the window. Wow, could that be my canary in the tree? I couldn't pronounce some words. I couldn't say sandwich. I would say Sammy. I knew that 2 plus 2 was 4. But what was 5 plus 7? I counted out my answer on my fingers, sticky from the peanut butter and jam inside my Sammy.
Okay, let's look at ask and answer questions. Maybe.
Stop and check. Ask and answer questions. Why does Gary like recess? Reread page 63 to find the answer.
Okay, let's go back to our graphic organizer for a moment. I think we can probably fill in a couple of events here. So in my first box, I am going to answer the question of what did Gary like to do when he was a little boy? And my answer is going to be, Gary liked to play with his friends, eat fruit, and spit seeds at his brother. Okay, and it looks like I can't. Can I write on this one? Let me see. I can. Okay, so Gary, well, this is going to be terrible. Tell you what, I will type it up after the video and attach it to the classwork. And I'm going to do the first two for you. So the first one is Gary liked to play with his friends, eat fruit, and spit seeds at his brother. And then we'll continue on to the second box where we're going to answer the question, what did Gary learn in kindergarten? So in kindergarten, Gary learned his colors and how to tie his shoes and how to be nice. Also in that box, we're going to say what he learned in first grade, which was he practiced writing the alphabet. All right, stop with this one. We'll go back to our story. Okay, and we'll continue reading.
In second grade, we collected money to help children in Africa. They didn't have anything to eat. I collected pennies, lots of pennies. I noticed that the pennies were the same as me. You see, I was naturally brown, and even browner from running in the sun. I felt like I was giving poor Africa a piece of me. My classmates got taller, but I seemed to stay the same size. I still liked playing at recess. I liked dodgeball, kickball, and foursquare. I would tumble when I played soccer. I was quick. I admire people who are quick and who play fair. Stop and check. Ask and answer questions. How does Gary feel about collecting pennies? Reread to find the answer.
Okay, so let's reread. He says, I collected pennies, lots of pennies. I noticed that the pennies were the same as me. You see, I was naturally brown and even browner from running in the sun. I felt like I was giving poor Africa a piece of me. So that's how he felt about collecting the pennies. He felt like he was giving a piece of himself to Africa. Let's continue.
By third grade, I was a good reader. I loved picture books. The pages were bright and colorful as toucans, those tropical birds with long beaks. Every week I went to the public library. I checked out mountains of books. I was still a dreamer. Sometimes I watched ants going in and out of their holes, or I would watch water racing in the curb. The river of water carried matchsticks, leaves, gum wrappers, and those poor little ants. I rescued some of those ants. I put them carefully on my finger and set them on the cement curb. They lay for a while like weak little shadows. Then they woke up and staggered away.
Well, that was very kind of him to rescue those ants that would have drowned in the water.
It was fun in third grade. I still stayed small, like those ants, I guess. I was scared of math, poor me. But reading was what I really liked. I read on the couch. I read in bed with carrot sticks, like pencils in my hands. Stop and check. Visualize. How does Gary feel about reading? Use the words in the story to picture what is happening.
Okay, so he said he loved reading. And can you get a picture in your head when he says, I read on the couch? Did you get a picture of him reading in bed with carrot sticks, like pencils in his hands? I know I did. So visualizing will help you to understand the story.
I liked to read in my favorite tree. Once, when Boots came by, I tossed a piece of bark at him. He looked around and meowed. I giggled. I tossed another piece of bark at him. This time Boots saw me and climbed up the tree. We sat on a fat limb, the two of us. I read him a story about a bird. He licked his paws. The engine inside him began to purr. I guess Boots liked reading too.
Okay, so it sounds like Boots was happy with Gary reading to him since he started purring.
On weekends, my family went to Chinatown. We bought groceries there at the Mexican store. I remember mariachis roving the street. Their sombreros were huge. You couldn't see their eyes, only their hanging mustaches. Their trumpets blared, the guitars strummed. Their violins seemed to weep. The guitarron thumped deeply. One time, I saw a dog dance to the mariachi music. The dog went back and forth, like he was doing the cha-cha.
Okay, did you get some pictures in your head of that? I know I did.
Every night I took a bubble bath in our deep tub. The water roared from the faucet as I climbed in. The bubbles rose like mountains. No, like really pretty clouds. I scooped up the bubbles and patted them onto my face. I pretended that I had a beard. I placed some of the bubbles on my head. Oh, a sombrero. I was a dreamer. I was sometimes in another world. In bed, I covered myself with 2 blankets. I thought about the day before I fell asleep, so tired. My legs kicked. As I dreamed, I was running for a touchdown, and the whole school was watching me. Gary Soto grew up to be an author. He dreamed up ideas for more than 40 books for children and grown-ups. He shares his Mexican-American culture through his poems and stories.
Okay. So a little more about our author. Gary Soto may be a dreamer, but he's also a reader. He says, I don't have much of a life because my nose is often stuck in a book. But I discovered that reading builds a life inside the mind. I enjoy biographies and novels and reading in Spanish. He also likes theater, sports, travel, and traveling. Gary is an award-winning author of more than 40 books for children and grown-ups. Okay, so we're going to stop sharing this one. All right, and then I'm going to show you how to do the 2 worksheets, and then I think I will make a separate video for the sequencing since it didn't work out on here and help you out with that one. But first, let's look at our spelling. I guess you can't see that if I don't share it with you. So let's look at the spelling. All right, that's better. Now let's make it a bit bigger. Okay, so even though we're not having a spelling test at the end of the week, we are still working on spelling every day, and you will be graded on your report card for spelling based on these worksheets. So we're looking at final E because all our words this week end in E, which means that they usually have a long vowel sound. So here we're going to write the spelling word that belongs with each group of words below. Puddle, pond. So we have to think, what do those have in common? Well, they both have water in them. Do we have any spelling words that have water? Lake. I think lake is what should go here. So I'm going to get rid of type here and type in the word lake. L-A-K-E. So I have a vowel, a consonant, a vowel, and my last vowel is an E, which makes my first my first vowel a long vowel sound. Lake. Okay, let's do one more together. Jet, rocket. Maybe things that fly. Do we see anything that flies here? Skate, plane. Planes fly. So I can type in plane. And I can try to spell it correctly. Again, this really wants to have an S. Plane. Okay, so you're going to continue on your own doing the rest of these. And then you're going to come to part B. Write the spelling word that completes each sentence. The bride had one bright red blank in her hand. Let's go back up to our words. A bright red what? What might a bride have? A bright red skate? Maybe. A bright red rose. Oh, brides carry flowers a lot. I think this is the one. So we're going to put rose right here. And I'll do one more with you. Dad blank the rake to clear the leaves. Something the rake. Date, lake, skate, plane, grade, fine, life, rice, wise, not finding it. Smile, rose, globe, smoke, come, used. Oh, he used the rake. Okay, I can type in used. Dad used with that long U sound. Dad used the rake to clear the leaves. Okay, and then you're going to finish the rest on your own. Be sure to turn it in when you're done. Okay, we'll stop sharing that one, and I will share one more with you. And that is inflectional endings. We worked on these yesterday also. Make this a little larger again. Okay, so when adding an inflectional ending, that means ed or ing or s with a final e spelling, we drop the final e. So we have all these words in our spelling list that have final e's. So if we're going to add an inflectional ending, so let's look at save. We're going to add s. Okay, do we drop the e when we add s? We do not. Right tool here. So I'm going to write saves. If I took that, then it would say salves. So I need that e to make my long vowel sound. And I'm going to come over here and add ed. So I have save, and I add ed. Is that correct? No, that says saved. So I don't need another e. Since I already have an e, I drop the original e and add ed. Then I'm going to add ing. I'm going to type save and add ing. Is that correct? No, because I need to drop my final e before adding ing. So saving is saving. Shall we do one more? Okay, so we need like. We need to have this long vowel sound, so I'm going to keep that e and add s. He likes to go to school. Liked. I'm going to drop the e. Oops. And add. All right, we'll get it eventually. I'm going to drop that last e because I'm going to add ed, and I don't need two e's, otherwise I would have liked. And here I have like, but I'm going to drop that e before I add ing. So that's how we do this one. Let's make it a bit smaller so we can see the whole thing. Almost. So you're going to continue and do the rest of these on your own. Don't forget to turn it in when you're finished. And then you can watch another short video about helping you to fill out the graphic organizer for sequencing. So go ahead and do those worksheets. Don't forget to turn them in and then go on to the sequencing. All right, I hope you like the story, Gary the Dreamer. I think it's a pretty good one. Okay, I hope you have an amazing day. Bye.